She built a trust to heal the wounds her family left. But when the world finally recognized her, Jordan Wong had to decide, hold on to the past, or lead them into a future they never thought possible. Because sometimes, the ultimate revenge is becoming the legacy they never believed in. The breeze off the Pacific was unusually sharp that evening, slicing through the air like a warning. I pulled my cardigan tighter around my shoulders as I approached the front door of the Wong family beach house. It had once been my sanctuary, a place where laughter echoed off the walls and summer smelled like grilled corn and sea salt. But tonight, it felt like I was walking into enemy territory. Inside, the lights blazed bright and warm. Too warm. Artificial. As if the house was trying too hard to pretend that nothing had changed, but everything had. "Jordan!" My mother's voice rang out like a bell chiming too close to your ear. "You're early. Come in. Come in." I stepped across the threshold, heart pounding. The reunion had been called under the guise of a family weekend getaway, but I knew better. After months of silence, this wasn't a spontaneous invitation. It was a test. My sister Oakley stood near the fireplace, champagne in hand, surrounded by my parents, her husband Brian, and my younger cousin Jeremy. She looked immaculate in her cream-colored blouse and tailored slacks, like someone who hadn't just tanked our family finances behind closed doors. I used to worship her. Now, I wasn't sure if I even knew her. "Jordan," she said, stepping forward. Her voice was honey-sweet, but her eyes didn't meet mine. "I'm glad you could come," I nodded. "Wouldn't miss it." My father, always the peacemaker, cleared his throat. "Let's sit. Dinner will be ready in a few minutes." As we gathered around the large oak dining table, memories tugged at me. Birthday cakes, board games, the summer we all got food poisoning from expired clams. But those days felt like another life. "I hear you've been doing important work." "At the hospital," my mother said. I smiled politely. "We've implemented a new trauma protocol, reduced emergency response time by 30%. "That's nice, dear," she replied, already turning back to Oakley. "Oakley's just secured another feature in Living Lux. Did you see her last spread? The Malibu mansion?" I didn't reply. Instead, I watched Oakley sip her champagne, the picture of elegance. No one mentioned the lawsuit. No one talked about how she'd siphoned money from our family trust into her boutique business, lying on loan applications, and then begged for forgiveness behind closed doors. Because forgiveness in this family wasn't a transaction. It was tradition, except for me. Later that night, Jeremy found me outside on the deck, staring at the ocean. "You look like you want to scream," he said. "I do." Loudly. He sat beside me. "They won't change, you know. Not unless someone forces them to." "I don't want revenge," I said, more to myself than to him. "I want justice. And maybe balance." Jeremy nodded. "I can help. If you're serious." I turned to him, surprised. "Why would you help me?" "Because you're the only one who ever treated me like family. And because I saw the ledger. Jordan, I know what Oakley did. You're not wrong." I stared out at the horizon. The sun had vanished beneath the waves, leaving behind streaks of violet and ash. For the first time in months, I felt something stir in my chest. Not anger. Hope. Then, let's begin. The dining room table was set, gleaming under the antique chandelier that had witnessed decades of holiday bickering, forced civility, and unspoken resentments. The air buzzed with the scent of rosemary roast and expensive tension. Jordan Wong sat at the far end of the table in the seat she hadn't been allowed to claim during her youth. It used to be reserved for Oakley, of course, the oldest, the favorite, the chosen daughter. But today, Jordan had arrived early. She sat there deliberately. She had earned that seat, even if no one wanted to say it aloud. Across the table, Oakley's mouth curled into a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Her husband Brian sat beside her, nervously cutting into his steak like it might explode. Their father, Daniel Wong, tapped his fork against his water glass for silence. "Well," he said, "I suppose it's time we had a little family update. Oakley?" "Oh, please, Dad," Oakley said sweetly. Let's not make this about me again. Jordan has something exciting to share, don't you, sis? Jordan glanced at Guy, sitting supportively to her right, and then at Jeremy, their cousin, whose eyes flicked between them like a referee bracing for the first foul. She set her wine glass down carefully. I bought a house, she said calmly. Oakley blinked. Wait, what? A house? Her mother, Mei Wong, repeated. Where? Jordan leaned back. It's a beachfront property just outside Newport. Small but beautiful. Needs renovation, but it's mine. The silence was absolute. Forks stopped clinking. The room practically inhaled in unison. Oakley's laugh was sharp, brittle. You're kidding. That property was just listed last month. You can't mean that house. I do. It closed 3 weeks ago, Jordan replied. You knew I was planning to make an offer, Oakley said, her voice high and tight. Brian and I have been eyeing that house for months. We never made an offer, Brian muttered. Oakley turned to him, furious. Because we were waiting for the right moment? There was never going to be a right moment, Jordan said softly, but her words were flint against dry kindling. Because you were always going to assume it was yours without doing the work. The room tensed. Her father shifted in his seat. You always do this, Oakley snapped. Trying to steal my dreams, my plans. Jordan stood up slowly, hands planted on the table. Let's talk about dreams, Oakley. About my graduation ceremony you talked through. My promotion to trauma nurse you called cute. The time you humiliated me in front of the whole family at last month's reunion. Were those your dreams too? You always did, Jordan cut in. And the worst part is, you didn't even notice. You don't see me as a person. You see me as a shadow you keep outrunning. Brian dropped his fork with a clatter. Oak, we need to talk, now. Oakley shot him a warning glare. Not here. Yes, he said, his voice rising. Here, about the credit card statements I found? About why we couldn't afford the house. The room froze. Oakley turned pale. Brian, you've racked up over $60,000 in secret credit card debt, he said quietly. I found out. You tried to open a loan using my signature. Gasps. Mei Wong covered her mouth. Daniel's eyes narrowed. Jordan turned away, gathering her things. I should go. I have contractors meeting me tomorrow. Wait, Jordan, her father said, voice gravelly. I'm sorry. She paused. For what? For not seeing you. For not seeing what you've built while we were too busy looking at Oakley's blueprint for success. It took everything in her not to cry. As she and Guy walked toward their cars, Jeremy jogged up behind them. That, he said, breathless, was the most amazing dinner I've ever been to. It's just beginning, Jordan said, unlocking her car. What do you mean? She smiled, the ocean air tangling her hair like a victory flag. The contractors aren't just doing renovations. They're assessing it for a potential deal. With a resort development company, Guy blinked. What? Are you serious? Very, she said. The biggest deals don't always start with loud announcements. Sometimes they start with silent power. The next morning, Jordan stood on the edge of her beach property, watching the waves stretch into eternity. The sun cast a golden glow across the sand as contractors bustled around her. Sarah Whitaker, the resort's representative, walked over, holding her tablet. We did a full sweep of the location. It's ideal. You're sitting on what could be the crown jewel of the entire coastal development. And the offer? Jordan asked. Sarah showed her the tablet screen. It was triple what Jordan had paid. That's our initial offer, Sarah said, plus a lifetime membership to the resort when it's complete. Before Jordan could respond, her phone buzzed again. Oakley. 5th time that morning. She declined the call. Everything okay? Sarah asked. Family, Jordan muttered. Nothing new. Just then, a Tesla roared up the private drive. Oh no, Jordan whispered. Speak of the demon. Oakley climbed out, sunglasses hiding what were surely puffy eyes. She stormed across the sand, heels sinking into it. We need to talk, she barked. Jordan turned to Sarah. Would you excuse me? Of course. Oakley launched into a tirade. Brian's leaving me? He found out everything. The loans, the credit cards, the fake investments. Are you happy now? Jordan remained calm. Oakley, I'm in a business meeting. This isn't business, it's sabotage. This is my property. You are trespassing. Please leave. Oakley yanked Sarah's tablet out of her hand, gasping when she saw the figures. You're selling to developers? That's our family home. No, that was your fantasy. This is my reality. Tears streaked Oakley's cheeks. You can't do this. I can, Jordan said. And the best part? I learned real estate from you. Every time you bragged, I took notes. You taught me how to win. That evening, the beach house was quiet. Jordan stood on the deck, sipping coffee. Her phone buzzed. It was a text from Brian. Can we meet? There's something you need to know. Curious, Jordan agreed. They met at a coffee shop across from the hospital. Brian looked worn, with dark circles under his eyes. She's worse off than I thought, he said, pulling out a folder. Inside were loan applications, forged documents, and secret accounts. She was going to use your house as collateral, Brian said. She was drowning, Jordan, and she was going to drag everyone down with her. Jordan's stomach turned. And your parents? They're talking about taking out a second mortgage to help her. You need to stop them. Another text popped up. From Jeremy. Emergency family meeting. Oakley's idea. Are you coming? Jordan showed Brian the text. Be careful, he said. She's desperate. That night, the Wong household was tense with anticipation. Oakley stood in the living room, posture perfect, smile rehearsed. I've been thinking a lot about my mistakes, she began. I want to make things right. Jordan's patience was a thread about to snap. You're trying to get them to mortgage their house to bail you out. Her parents looked shocked. Jordan! She forged Brian's signature. She's maxed out multiple credit cards. Oakley's mask cracked. I need help. What you need, Jordan said, is consequences. This house, your beach house, could fix everything. No, Jordan said coldly. My house isn't a solution to your bad choices. Her father stepped forward. We're all family. So am I, Jordan snapped. But you never bailed me out. Why is she different? Because I cleaned up my mess. Oakley broke down in sobs. I'm sorry. I didn't know what else to do. Jordan slung her purse over her shoulder. You made your choices. And now I'm making mine. She turned to leave. You'll regret this, Oakley whispered. Jordan didn't look back. She walked into the night, stars above and ocean ahead, and she knew this wasn't just about a house. This was about breaking cycles. The next morning, Jordan stood at the edge of her beach deck, coffee in hand, the wind tangling her hair as the ocean whispered secrets of freedom and change. The events of last night replayed like waves crashing in her chest. Oakley's tearful breakdown, the forged loan documents, the painful silence of their parents. Her phone buzzed. Guy, you okay? She typed a single reply. Not yet, but getting there. Inside the house, contractors were finishing final measurements. Jordan's voice was steady as she gave instructions. But internally, she was shifting. No longer the girl left behind in her sister's shadow. No longer seeking validation from people who only saw parts of her. By noon, her inbox pinged. Sarah Whitaker had sent over the revised resort proposal. She clicked it open and scrolled to the bottom. Instead of outright purchase, we propose a strategic partnership. Your property remains in your trust's ownership while we develop and manage adjacent lots. Your house becomes the crown jewel of a revitalized coastline, increasing in value and legacy. Jordan leaned back. Legacy. The word stuck with her. She thought of her parents, once hardworking immigrants who sacrificed so much. She thought of Oakley. Yes, entitled and selfish, but also a product of favoritism and pressure. She thought of herself, fighting to be seen, heard, valued. Suddenly, she knew exactly what she had to do. Jordan called Jeremy. Can you come early? To help me set up? This one's going to be different. He arrived with his laptop, surprised to see a freshly cleaned living room, printed folders stacked neatly, and soft music playing in the background. Are you hosting a corporate board meeting? Close, Jordan said. This is the first official session of the Wong Family Trust. His eyebrows shot up. I filed the paperwork this morning. The house is no longer just mine. It belongs to a legal trust with me as founder and trustee. But every family member gets a say, if they're willing to participate. Jeremy whistled. Oakley's gonna lose her mind. She already did. Now let's give her a chance to build something instead of destroying it. One by one, the family arrived. Her parents first quiet, uncertain, then Brian, cautiously optimistic, and finally, Oakley. Less polished, dark circles under her eyes, humility clinging to her like an ill-fitting coat. What is this? She asked. Jordan didn't answer directly. Instead, she handed each person a folder labeled Wong Family Trust, Mission, Assets, Responsibilities. Everyone exchanged confused glances. I'm proposing something different, Jordan said. This beach house, our house, is no longer mine. It belongs to all of us. But with that comes responsibility. Her father, Daniel, flipped through the packet. This is structured like a corporate foundation. Yes, there are rules. Votes, transparency, financial literacy. It's not about rescuing anyone. It's about changing everything. Her mother, May, asked, and if we don't agree? Then I'll move forward alone. But I hope you do. Oakley stared at her. Sister. You're inviting me to have a say in the house I tried to steal? I'm inviting you, Jordan said, voice level, to earn something for once. Oakley swallowed hard. I don't know how. Then let's learn together. The first trust meeting was held on the sun-drenched deck overlooking the Pacific. Jeremy served as the record keeper. The guy made coffee. Jordan led the agenda. Item 1, she announced, financial recovery programs. She passed Oakley a folder titled Credit Repair and Budgeting. Inside were tools, advisors, and a schedule. Oakley didn't roll her eyes. She nodded. Thank you. Item 2, Jeremy said. Scholarship fund? Jordan smiled. I've allocated a portion of the property's new value to start a family scholarship fund. We'll name it after Grandma Wong. Her parents blinked back tears. Item 3, Jeremy continued, holiday rotation schedule. They all groaned, but this time together. Jordan stepped outside for air. The house glowed with laughter and conversation. Oakley joined her, holding 2 mugs. You never gave up on me, did you? Oakley asked. I did, Jordan said honestly. But then I gave up on revenge and chose purpose instead. Oakley looked out at the sea. Brian and I are working through things, counseling, downsizing, living honestly for once. Jordan nodded. I check my credit score like it's a mood ring, Oakley added with a small laugh. But it's getting better. Good. You deserve better, if you work for it. Oakley handed her the second mug. 2 second chances, Jordan raised hers to accountability and growth. Jordan reviewed the resort's final offer. They'd agreed to a co-ownership partnership model. The house would remain part of the family trust, while the adjacent development was handled by the resort. All revenues from the increased land value, branding, and special access programs would benefit the trust without selling their legacy. She gathered everyone again. I got the final offer. Her father looked wary. They want to buy the house? No, Jordan said, holding up the contract. They want to build around it with us as partners. We stay in control. Brian leaned forward. That's brilliant. Oakley looked down. I used to think success meant owning everything. Jordan smiled. Now we know it means being worthy of what you have. Jeremy raised his hand. I vote yes. One by one, hands rose. When Oakley's hand went up last, her voice cracked. Yes, for us. A local paper published a glowing article about Jordan's hospital innovations. New emergency protocols reducing trauma response times by 30%. Her picture, surrounded by her team, appeared in the medical innovation section. May framed the article and hung it in the beach house. That's my daughter, she told visitors. Not just a nurse, a leader. The family gathered around the deck. Jeremy read aloud. The Wong Family Trust exists not to create wealth, but to create value. Not to enable, but to empower. Not to divide, but to unite. Through financial responsibility, educational opportunity, and shared experiences, we build a legacy of strength, wisdom, and genuine success. Tears welled in Oakley's eyes. It's perfect. Jordan looked at her family. No longer fractured, but rebuilding. Honestly and slowly. The sun dipped low, casting golden light across the deck. The air smelled of salt, sea, and fresh coffee. Guy raised his mug. To genuine success. Jordan raised hers. To family. Oakley added softly. Because sometimes they're the same thing. A thin mist rolled in from the shoreline as Jordan sat alone on the deck, reviewing emails on her tablet. One caught her eye. The subject line read, Nomination, National Humanitarian Award, Emergency Response Category. She clicked, blinking. Dear Ms. Jordan Wong, your recent implementation of the Wong Rapid Response Protocol has saved dozens of lives and reduced trauma room delays by 30%. You have been nominated for the National Humanitarian Award, to be presented this December at the Capitol Convention Hall. The email listed media inquiries, attendance confirmations, and, most shockingly, a proposed video feature documenting her journey. Jordan set the tablet down, hands trembling. She had started this year with betrayal and brokenness. Now, people she didn't even know were calling her a humanitarian. The following Sunday, the family gathered for the Trust's second quarterly meeting. The kitchen buzzed with conversation, Jeremy cracking jokes, their father chopping fruit, their mother setting out tea. Oakley and Brian arrived last, hand in hand. Jordan noticed something else. Oakley had a binder tucked under her arm, custom tabs, color-coded. I've been keeping a financial diary, Oakley said with a shy grin. Budgets, spending habits, growth targets? Brian added, we've downsized, moved into a 2-bedroom. Walk up. It's humble, but it's ours. No more pretending. They took their seats around the table. Before we start, Jordan said, tapping a spoon against her cup, I have news. She read the email aloud. Their mother gasped. Jordan, you're being honored nationally? Oakley stared. You're going to be on television? Jeremy whistled. Hope they catch your good side. Jordan chuckled. There's more. They want to feature the beach house story, not just me. The room fell silent. Wait, Daniel said. Our family? They want to show how we created something out of a mess, how we turned pain into purpose. For the first time, May reached for Jordan's hand. We're proud of you. Whatever you decide, we'll be there. A month later, a documentary crew arrived. Cameras, boom mics, and lighting rigs. They transformed the beach house into a film set. Jordan was interviewed first. They asked about her work, her past, and what made her choose a different path. I could have let revenge define me, she said into the camera. But instead, I chose responsibility. I created a trust not to punish my family, but to invite them to build something better. They interviewed Oakley next. She didn't sugarcoat her past. I was selfish, entitled. I used money to feel valuable, but it made me hollow. Jordan gave me a roadmap out. Not a rescue, a way forward. Brian spoke too, recounting how financial deceit almost destroyed them, and how accountability became their marriage's new foundation. Even Daniel and May offered reflections. We thought love meant shielding our children from consequences, May said. We learned love sometimes means letting them face the truth. In early December, the Capitol Convention Hall buzzed with dignitaries, doctors, educators, and philanthropists. Jordan stood backstage in an elegant midnight blue gown, her family seated in the front row. The producer adjusted her mic. You all ready? He asked. She nodded. On stage, a host took the mic. Our next honoree is someone who turned a personal betrayal into a blueprint for rebuilding. Not just a house, but a family. Please welcome National Humanitarian Award winner, Jordan Wong. Applause thundered as Jordan stepped forward, the lights blinding and humbling. She spoke clearly. I grew up being told success meant achievement, but I've learned that real success is character. When my sister betrayed me, I had a choice: revenge or redemption. I chose to build a legacy, not a grudge. This beach house became a symbol, not of wealth but of responsibility, of family. Today, I share this award not just with my medical team, but with every member of the Wong Family Trust. We made mistakes, but we made something real. Her family stood, tears in their eyes. The crowd rose for a standing ovation. 2. Weeks after the gala, a new email arrived. The developers had a final proposal: expand the partnership to include a wellness retreat and leadership institute run by the Family Trust. They would fund construction if the trust provided a vision. Jordan paced the deck, rereading the details. Would this make us property moguls? Oakley asked, joining her. No. It would make us stewards, Jordan replied. Oakley looked out at the horizon. You're not mad at me anymore? I still remember everything, Jordan said, but I forgave you the moment you chose. Growth. On New Year's Eve, the beach house was full. Families, friends, staff from the hospital, and even a few from the documentary crew. They toasted with sparkling cider, music playing, the scent of cinnamon and pine in the air. Jeremy tapped his glass. Jordan has something to say. She stood. This house began as a fracture, a war zone, but now it's our headquarters, for healing, for change. We've approved the Wellness Institute. Construction starts next spring, and the Leadership Scholarship Fund officially launches next semester. Applause echoed around her. And, she added, holding up a final envelope, I've updated the trust deed. From now on, the chairperson rotates every year. She handed the envelope to Oakley. Happy new beginning. Oakley blinked, stunned. You're trusting me with this? You earned it. Guy pulled Jordan aside later. You know, this all started because someone tried to hurt you. Jordan smiled. I know. But look what we built instead. They looked out at the waves, moonlight casting silver trails over the sea. Months later, Jordan rewatched the documentary. The closing scene showed her walking the beach with Oakley, talking and laughing. The narrator's voice said, Sometimes, revenge isn't slamming the door. Sometimes it's opening one no one thought you ever could.